Zoom record. Okay, you'll see where it says audit. It's like halfway down the page, and you can input your information and it will run a business audit for you and just let you know how you compare to your competitors in your market. If you're just like a solopreneur, I'm not sure if it will work, try it. But if you're a business owner, or you have your brand, right? Your company brand for whatever company you work for, then scroll down and see if, input your information and just see what pops up. It's going to compare you to all of your competitors, how you're showing up online, your Google reviews and things like that. The other thing I'm going to put in the chat is the CRM. So donebyone.ai, crm.donebyone.ai. That's in the chat. That is the CRM website. And let me see. And then I'm going to send out an audit. I was looking for it. I was running a little behind this morning. So and I'll tell you guys why in a little bit, but if you can look or check your email after, I'm going to put the audit form. So there's a 3-page audit form because today we're talking about the 3A framework, and the first one is audit. So in that audit form, it's really going to go through and help you identify what you need to be auditing in your business to make sure that you are implementing, automation and AI based on your audit. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And let's see, where are we here? Okay, so this is where if you scroll down on Done by One, this is what I was talking about. That was that market report. Let me just, okay. So we are going to talk about the 3A framework that is going to take you from hustle culture to freedom, okay, with the 3A framework. It is going to allow you to work less, close more deals, and live more, especially living a life by design. But I want to just stop sharing 1 second. Hold on 1 sec. I just want to see something. So whenever I share my screen, it's been doing it content only, and I don't want it like that. So let's see. Okay, perfect. So that is what we're talking about today. And I want to just tell you guys like what I see a lot of, because I work with a lot of people that are either on Done by One, thinking about coming over to Done by One, or just need help in their business. And I see that a lot of people are working a lot harder, but they're not moving the needle in their business, right? They're doing a lot of extra work. They have too many systems, too many tools, but nothing is working consistently. And actually, it's creating more work for them instead of less. They're tool hopping, they're jumping from CRM to CRM. They don't really have a strategy. They're spending all this money on software, and they're just not getting the results that they want. I also see a lot of people start something, but then they never follow through and they quit before it even has a chance to start to take off. Right? Or I see people with inconsistent leads in their business goes like I call the sales roller coaster. It's up and down. You get a lot of deals. You're working your deals. You're so excited because you probably spent the past 90 days prospecting, trying to get deals, right? You finally get the deals. You start working them. But what do? You stop doing the things that got you the deals. So then those deals either close or they just don't close and they die, right? And then you're like, oh crap, I need more deals. So you start doing the same thing again, and you're on that sales roller coaster because you did not build a system to consistently generate more leads, right? Or they throw things at the wall hoping it sticks with no real proven strategy or system behind it. And so I'm seeing a lot of that and a lot of tools, right? That does not equal more income. If you are trying to automate things with absolutely no strategy before auditing your business, before seeing exactly what you need to do in your business, you have no clarity and you're just hoping this is going to generate deals, it's not. So the tools are not going to build your business. The systems behind the tool, right? The strategy behind the tool is what is going to build your business. So automation without strategy is just going to equal chaos. Implementing AI without any sort of system or strategy behind it is just not going to bring you more deals. So a lot of times we need to scale back right? And if you're on Done by One, you know that we have every single tool there possibly could be to run your business. So what happens? It gets overwhelming. We don't even know what tool to use. So what do? We don't use any of them, right? And then we're like, okay, this is not working for me. So before we can really do, utilize these tools, we have to figure out what is working in our business. And I just want to point out something real quick. When I sold real estate, I remember I was in Mike Ferry coaching, and people would say, even now, if people come to me and they'll say, I want to do whatever you're doing, right? I want to do, like, it looks like whatever you're doing is working. So I just want to do what you're doing. Here's the thing, that if you do what I'm doing, right? I have certain skills. I have certain things I like to do and certain things I don't like to do. I have certain things I'm good at and certain things that I'm not good at. So same with you. So if you just adopt my system, but you don't really enjoy doing the things that I like doing, like this, a webinar, for example, right? It's going to create a business that you hate, and it's going to create burnout. And that is exactly what happened to me when I sold real estate. So if you follow me, you know that I love to travel. In 2008, the market crashed. I closed my real estate company. I closed my mortgage company. I had two little kids. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? Freaking out. And so I had to do, anything. I was door knocking. I was cold calling. I was doing everything I possibly could to generate more business. And then that kind of led into me cold calling expired listings. But here's the thing with expired listings. You can't really go on vacation. You need to be there cold calling them every single day, 5 days a week, right? Because they are the types of people that they're going to make a decision quick. You need to be there. You need to go on that listing presentation. So what did I do? I built a business over 10 years, cold calling expireds, and I hated it. If I went out to dinner and the person next to me at the restaurant, or if I'm sitting at the bar or whatever, was talking about real estate, I would never talk to them about real estate. Why? Because I've just spent however long talking about real estate with, on the phone, cold calling. I was done for the day. So I want you to start to think about your life and your lifestyle, right? What is it that you like to do? Because there's no such thing as a, business and then your life, right? If you could figure out how to create not only a work-life balance, but work-life harmony, so that you love what you're doing, you love your job, you can talk to people about it all the time, right? Really creating that. So I want you to think about, when we're talking about the business, ask yourself right now, right? Are you running your business in a way that you're not happy? And if so, what has to change? Because what happened to me is I then got completely out of real estate. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't take it. And I went back full time into mortgage and started building a business that I love, that allows me to travel, that allows me to do this from everywhere, right? So you don't want to waste the next 10 years of your life. So really start to ask yourself, how can I incorporate my business within my lifestyle? You want to also identify what is actually broken, right? What is broken in your business? We're going to talk about auditing your business in a minute. We're going to talk about what it is that you need to automate, and then also what you don't need to automate, right? It still needs that human touch. We cannot rely on automation and AI for everything. We're going to talk about how to use AI the right way, and then how to create a predictable system. And I want to point out that this takes time. I built Done by One in 2022 after being very frustrated in Italy, sitting in a hotel room, jumping from hotel to hotel, coffee shop to coffee shop, while my family was out having fun and I was slaving away working pre-approvals and everything else. And I said, there has to be a better way. How can I run my business and be done by one, but then have a system running it for me while I am not doing it? And that's when Done by One came about. But I want to just say that there's been a lot of tweaks. There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of add-ons. I didn't build a system in a month, right? So you want to just continuously audit your business, right? Continuously find what gaps are in your business, identify exactly where your business is leaking time, money, and leads, and then plug that with automation and that's an AI. That's how you build the system. That's how you create your workflows. I still create workflows. Like I'll come up with a new idea and be like, oh, I got to create a workflow for this, right? So that is how you then plug your gaps through your audit with automation and AI. And this is really how you are going to scale. And now, if you're still the person writing leads, your leads on a sticky note and stuff like that, I hate to tell you, but you are going to fall behind because the gap between people using automation and AI and people not using it is getting wider and wider. And the people that are going to, implement automation and AI into their business are the ones that are going to win in the long run. So most people skip the audit step. What they do is they just jump straight into tools. I'm going to use this. And I'm one of those people too. I mean, I can tell you I had every tool imaginable, right? And so until I got done by one and everything is all in one, but I had all these different things. I can tell you I was paying for, I don't even know how much a month in subscriptions. And I was HomeBot. I'll give you that. I'll use HomeBot as an example because I spoke to somebody the other day who uses HomeBot. And it wasn't generating me any business. Was it keeping me top of mind? Probably, but it wasn't generating any business for me. Same thing with the list reports. I was using list reports and I would have agents call me and say, hey, can I be on your list report, right? But guess what they weren't doing? They weren't sending me any business. So why am I going to pay for list reports for all these agents that are not even sending me any business, right? So that's when I started taking control over my own business. I need to generate my own leads. Right? So people jump into tools without any strategy behind it, or they pay for subscriptions without any strategy behind it. They copy what other people are doing, right? And it's not how they want to build their business. So they don't, incorporate their own business, their own model to do what makes them happy. And then what they do is they waste time, they waste money, and nothing ever works. And then they get frustrated. Okay. So the first thing that you need to be doing is auditing your business. And like I said, I am going to email out, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, like a replay, check the comments and I'll have the audit there. But the audit is where you want to, that is step number one. This is where everything changes. This is where most entrepreneurs never take the time to really look at their business. So I want you, as I'm going through this, to really think about your business, right? Like there's so many different steps in any business. It's not just real estate. It's not just mortgage. It's not just insurance. It's not just title. It could be a restaurant. It could be, a plumbing business, right? We all have the same things that we have to do. We have to generate leads. We have to do marketing. We have to follow up with leads. We have to nurture leads. We have to do fulfillment, right? So that could be doing a loan. That could be selling a home. That could be, plumbing, doing plumbing at someone's house, whatever. You get the point, right? So you want to, number one, figure out, where are my leads coming from? Look at the past 90 days. Make a list of all of your lead sources, of where your leads are coming from, and then also make a list of where you're spending time and money, but you're not getting anything from it. And now I do want to make a point here, because some people will say, oh, I spent 90 days doing this, nothing came about, nothing came of it, and it's just not working. I have been doing these lunch and learns since last, I don't know, maybe a year. Let's just say a year. Okay. I am now getting a lot of traction from these webinars. The first 8 months, I really wasn't, right? So email marketing, same thing. I'm now getting a lot of traction from my email marketing. I had somebody that's on the CRM say, I'm seeing the emails are, going into spam or whatever. It's just not going to work. Guess what? Grant Cardone's emails are going into my spam. Do you think Grant Cardone has enough money to figure out the email marketing system? He does, right? But my emails are also going into a lot of people's inboxes also. It takes time to get your domain warmed up, right? It takes time for things to actually start to click. So you don't want to just say, okay, this isn't working. If there is something, though, that you're spending money on, you're not sure if it's going to work, then you can say to yourself, I am going to go all in on this lead source, or all in on this for the next 90 days. And if it still isn't working, then I can cut it. But I want you to identify where your leads are coming from. I want you to identify what deals are falling through the cracks and why. Is it your lead follow-up? A lot of times, we all know the money is not in the leads, okay? The money is in the follow-up. Because if someone is reaching out to you for a deal, they're probably reaching out to several other people as well. I went car shopping a couple of years ago and I test drove a BMW and I loved it. It was the end of the day. I think it was a Friday. I can't remember, probably because I wouldn't do that during the week. I'm like very structured during the week. But Friday I let loose. So anyways, it was probably a Friday at end of day. And I said to the sales guy, I said, can you please email me all of the specs on the car? You know, I'm really interested. Guess what happened? Nothing. He never emailed me the specs on the car, right? So he never even followed up with me, which was so weird. And I wasn't going to follow back up with him. So I just went and I bought a car from somebody else. So where are you not following up with people? And we all know that one-time follow-up is typically not going to get you the deals, right? So what's not being followed up on? Are there leads sitting in your CRM that have gotten cold, right? And then where can you make the quickest revenue right now? So sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, I need deals now. And they're doing all of these passive marketing things, right? They're not doing anything that's going to generate them a deal now. So if you need a deal now, you need to look at your database, you need to look at what you're doing, and you need to figure out who can I call in the next, week, right? And stay on these people until you generate a deal. And I promise you, deals are going to start to happen. And then you want to look and see, where are you losing money? What subscriptions do you have? Or do you have any missed opportunities? Are you not tasking yourself, to follow up with people? You really want to find the holes in your business. I was on an Ed Milet call in Andy Frisilla, and Andy Frisilla said you need to figure out where the holes are in your tent. Okay. So imagine you have a tent and there's holes and it's raining, right? Where are the holes? Where are the issues in your business? And that is where we plug them with automation and AI and a human touch, right? If that's what it needs. But most entrepreneurs find their biggest opportunities hiding in their database, not in new leads. So let me ask you, is one of your holes not staying in touch with your past clients? Is one of the holes in your tent not staying and nurturing your database, right? Are you not asking for more business? Are you not asking your database who they may know that might be looking to buy, refi, invest, build, whatever business you're in, right? So lead generation, where are your leads coming from? Follow up, where are the gaps in your follow up, right? How long is it taking you to follow up with people? How is your conversion? How is your communication? Is your communication with your clients, right? Is it detailed? So one of the things that we do when I do a done by one audit is we come up with all of the communication outreach for the client, right? So that they're getting the texts and the emails, whether all parties to the transaction. And then where are you leaking time? For me, it was email. Email was a huge time suck for me. I would have, if you're one of the people that needs a clean inbox, don't even look at mine. I think I have 16,000 emails in my personal Gmail. I don't even check that one anymore. I had to get a brand new email inbox to try and prevent, missing emails, because who knows? So email was my thing, right? So what is your thing? Okay. And if you don't audit your business, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to keep wondering why things are not working. You're going to keep hopping from tool to tool, platform to platform. You're going to be ever overwhelmed. You're never going to scale, and you're never going to build a sustainable business, because clarity is where control comes from, right? Clarity is going to create that control. So you want to make sure that you're auditing your business first, okay? And take some time to do that. Maybe do it this weekend. Go buy a brand new notebook. I am definitely a paper person. Go get a brand new notebook and, or talk into ChatGPT and say, hey, I need help identifying where the holes are in my business. This is what's going on. These are all of the things that I'm doing. This is my goal, right? This is what I want to achieve this year. Let me check. I've given up on keeping my email sorted. Same with me. I just got a new email. I'm like, screwed that one. I'm not going to be able to, get any emails in that anymore. So yes, I agree. So anyways, once you do this, everything is going to change. Okay. Once you really have clarity, once you audit your business, and I'm talking about everything in your business. Start with lead generation. Audit it. What am I doing? What do I need to be doing? What is not working? What is working? Then go to lead follow-up, right? Because that's different than lead generation. Where in my day am I scheduling time for my lead follow-up? Where am I losing? Where am I losing people? Am I not following up, as many times? We all know in sales, they say you should be following up at least 7 times. Are you following up at least 7 times? And if you're not, then let the system follow up for you. And that is what I built, was the system to follow up for me, because I know myself, right? I know I'm not that great at follow up. So then my system will follow up for me so that I don't have to do that. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. So then the second step is going to be automation, right? This is where once you know your audit, and I would actually create a project in ChatGPT and call it your 2026 3A framework if you want. First, you're going to go through and explain to ChatGPT. In fact, this is making me think I need to create a custom GPT to help all of you guys go through this process. But anyways, so first audit, second automation, use ChatGPT, have it help you with your audit, and then say, okay, now where can I automate, right? Once you know where the gaps are in your business, this is where you can figure out what's broken. And then this is where you can decide where you want that human touch in the automation or in the follow-ups, right? Where you want it to be automated. And then we create the system around that. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that are really big for me with Done by One and how I built that out. And if you're on Done by One and you're on the $250 a month plan, then you're pretty much in the plug and play. Like, I built it out. You get my systems, you get my templates. You just plug and play. If you want to add your own templates, great. You can add whatever you want. The system is yours. But if you're on the higher tiered plan, the accelerator plan, this is where we do the audit together. It's a basically done with you type of program where we build out your custom everything. So the AI powered pipeline is huge, right? So new lead from a brand new lead, and I have an AI powered pipeline real quick for everything. So I have an AI powered pipeline, and if you're on Done by One, you know what I'm talking about, new lead to clear to close, okay? So from new lead to clear to close, there is a pipeline, and in that pipeline, every time you move somebody through the stages, things happen. And if they stay in a stage for too long, the system automatically follows up with them, okay? But I have an AI powered pipeline for all different things in my business. I have a podcast. I have an AI powered pipeline for my podcast. So when I move a podcast guest, someone that's going to be on my podcast, over into the stage podcast recorded, it triggers all automations to people on my team, letting them know that that podcast has been recorded, that they need to go in and edit it, where all of the headshots are, blah, 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 all of this stuff. So the podcast is another one. All of my different pipelines, I've figured out what stages. And like I said in the beginning, it takes time. You're not going to build this overnight. I just started doing a podcast 2 years ago. I figured out that I was doing a podcast, and what was happening? I was never following up with that podcast guest again. I was not thanking them for being on my podcast. I was not asking them who else they might know that might want to be on my podcast. So instead of me recognizing and stressing out over the fact that I know what I should be doing, I know the process that I want to have to happen when I do a podcast, I'm not doing it. So let me build the system so that the system does it for me. So my AI powered pipeline is not just for my new leads all the way to clear to close on the mortgage side, or on the real estate side from new lead all the way to listing submitted all the way to closing or loan or funded, right? So you can create an AI powered pipeline for anything that you're doing. So I want you guys to think about that if you're doing other things within your system. So this is how we automatically follow up with people, and while you're sleeping, traveling, whatever, it is getting followed up with, right? Because I've identified the holes in my tent. The second thing is omnipresence. Um, Omnipresent, what that means is that means you want to be everywhere. I don't know about you guys, but like back in the day, back in the day, I'm like aging myself here, okay? Back in the day, the channels of communication was your cell phone and email. It was not Facebook Messenger, TikTok Messenger, comments on YouTube, like Instagram Messenger, all of this stuff, right? So now, before, when back in 2008, when I was talking with a seller and I was like, okay, how do you want to be communicated with? And I, communicate every Friday on emails and update you on your listing, da da da, whatever. Now it's like I have people that I don't even know their phone number, and Danita's probably one of them. The only way I communicate with you is on Facebook. I have a lot of people like that. I have a lot of people that only communicate on Instagram. I have a lot of people that only text me, some people on WhatsApp, right? So it's really can be confusing, but you don't want to lose those leads. So number one, in Done by One, our conversations tab, that's where everything falls into. All of your Instagram, Facebook messages, everything falls into that conversation tab. So you have everything in one place. But you also want to make sure that you're omnipresent, right? So that people are seeing you everywhere. So email marketing, your social media, you want to make sure that you're posting at least 1 to 4 times a day. You want to stay top of mind with the people that you're also talking to and following up with. I don't know why my slides keep doing this. Okay. So I created in my system a couple of like a month ago, I created a 90-day email campaign. So we went in and we created all 90 days and created an automation so that people are getting an email from me every single day for the next 90 days. When that 90 day is up, what am I going to do? I'm going to create another set of emails. Now, I did not personally write all the emails. AI wrote the emails. So I said, I want 30 emails based on Done by One, 30 emails based on mortgage, 30 emails based on agent attraction. Okay. So it created all of the emails. My virtual assistant went in and set that up. So staying top of mind through email. And like I said before, if any of you guys get my email and it ends up in spam, please mark it not as spam because that is how it will start to end up in the inboxes, right? But in the beginning, it was ending up in spam, right? So now it's ending up in inboxes. You have to stay consistent and not give up, okay? Database nurturing, staying in touch with my database. I've created every 90 day, my database is getting something of value. So if that is a hole in your tent, nurturing your database, and we're going to talk about in just a little bit AI tools that will help you for this, or if you've taken my class or if you're on Done by One, you can go and see the 90-day nurture campaign that we created with ChatGPT and Gamma. That's another class that I have. It's actually a free class on, building out your database nurture campaign. And it literally took us 40 minutes on a webinar to do this, to implement it, and to put it into the CRM. It is so incredibly easy, right? But first, you have to identify what it is that you want to do. And I understand sometimes I say things are easy because it's easy for me and it might not be easy for you. If this is something that you want to implement, but it's not easy for you, well, then hire a virtual assistant, right? Reach out to me. We have the Done by One VAs, or you can go to Upwork or Fiverr or whatever and have a VA work on your stuff, right? So I don't want you guys to like not do something because you don't know how to do it, right? It's like that book, Who Not How. Figure out what it is that needs to be done and figure out who can do it for you. Unfortunately, a lot of times I'm like, this will just be a lot easier and quicker if I do it. So I end up doing it myself. But don't not do something because you don't know how to do it. You're the idea person. You're running the bus. You're the CEO of your business, right? So you need to figure out this is what I want to have happen, and this is who's going to do it for me. It could be you, it could be somebody else, right? So once you build this automation, once you build the 90-day email campaigns, once you build your, 90-day database nurture campaigns or whatever, not only is a set it and forget it type of thing, right? But now you're staying top of mind. You don't have to rebuild it again. So content without burnout, and I will tell you guys how I do this. And I've taught several classes on this, but first of all, I handle my personal Facebook page. That is the only that's the only page I handle. My virtual assistant and Done by One handles everything else. I do post on LinkedIn and I was doing TikTok, but my virtual assistant is now doing TikTok. So I schedule out recurring posts. So like home equity line of credit, this is for me and my business. They are the easiest things to close. You make decent money without doing any work, right? And a lot of people need them right now. So I have these recurring posts going out about home equity lines of credit. I am not thinking of a new post every single day. In Done by One, you can schedule the recurring posts. Maybe you want to schedule something for summer and then you want to schedule something around the holidays in October. You can literally take 2 hours and create content for your entire year. And then you or a virtual assistant schedule all of them out. I focus on my personal page. Done by One, and my virtual assistant focuses everything else. And I want you guys to start thinking about like repurposing things, right? So this webinar that I'm doing, this can be repurposed into obviously a webinar on YouTube. We can chop it up into little clips and turn them into reels. It can be, go through email marketing. So everything you do can be repurposed so that you're not constantly trying to recreate everything. If you're watching my videos lately, and sometimes I am a little like cringy, but if you're watching my videos lately, that is AI. It's not me. I created my AI clone with HeyGen. I'm going to go into a couple of tools in a minute. And my virtual assistant is creating all of those videos with ChatGPT and HeyGen. It's not actually me doing the videos. Okay. So I want to talk about webinars because for a while, I was doing webinars and some people were not even showing up. I'd have like nobody on the webinar, right? And that's okay. Because if you want to get into webinars, in fact, in the beginning, maybe you want to do a webinar and not tell anybody about it. Don't have anybody show up, right? I do all of my webinars on Zoom, but one webinar can pay. Like I did a webinar last year on Winexa. I just brought on 4 people in 30 days. And I have somebody actually just reminded me at 1 o'clock that I'm onboarding also 4 people in 30 days from a video that I did last year. It's not even relevant anymore because we still now have, I need to do a part 2. We have so many different things that is going on now, right? So where do you want your business to come from? If you're in real estate and you want more sellers, then you should do a webinar on how to sell your home, how to stage your home, what buyers are looking for, whatever. If you want more buyers, then you should do a home buying webinar, right? I see people saying, I want to do a first-time home buyer webinar. I personally did not want to work with any buyer when I sold real estate. I was a listing agent, so I didn't want to do a first-time home buyer webinar. So going back to what I said in the beginning, figure out what it is in your life that you want to do and then create a webinar, right, around that. Because and let me just make one more point. The webinar that I did last year about why Nexa, do you know nobody called me at all on that webinar until recently? Now the thing is blowing up. I don't even know. I don't even know how many views I have. I have not put any SEO. I don't even know where they're finding me. But 4 people in 30 days, I brought onto my company from a webinar that I did last year that is sitting on YouTube. And I also do have it on a landing page. In fact, I will show you that real quick. So what I did was I did the webinar last year. Okay. This probably could be a reason why people are getting. So just something for you guys to think about, right? Then I put it on a landing page. A landing page then can create an evergreen webinar. You can do a couple of different things with an evergreen webinar. It just means that it's always running. That's what evergreen means. Okay. So you can put it on a webinar landing page where people have to register and then it takes them to the next page. We have that in the CRM. So if you want to build out a webinar like that, you can absolutely do that. And then it has all of the automations and stuff like that. I just put mine on a simple landing page. I did 3 different, but I just added the third one. It looks like this. Okay. Actually, this one is, oh yeah. So YNEXA did that a year ago. Reload program and BDM. This is just about Nexa, blah, 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 blah. Put it on this simple landing page. So now if I see people commenting in Facebook groups, hey, I'm thinking about making a move, just curious, I will go and just say, hey, I did a webinar on YNEXA. If you want to check it out, here's the landing page, right? No sales, not salesy, it's just like, if you want to check it out, great, here it is. So then all of the other people commenting on that post are seeing what I put in there so that they can check it out also. So that is just an idea, right? If you want to, if you're in real estate, because I know Danita is, and you want to get more listings, you want more sellers, do a home buyer, how to sell your home in 90 days, right? Or whatever. Talk about pricing, talk about the pitfalls of overpricing, talk about, this is actually what I would be doing if I was selling real estate right now, right? Talk about how to market your property properly, how to, be available for showings, how to make sure it's clean, curb appeal, blah, 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 like go through the whole thing, have ChatGPT do it, and then have Gamma create it. I want to tell you guys real quick, okay, why I was late this morning. The webinar that you are seeing right now, I literally created this at 11 a.m. And Craig was texting me if he's still on here, I have no idea, but he was texting me while I was like literally creating this. Okay. This is AI. This is exactly how you can do anything you want to do in a matter of minutes. So I woke up this morning, I wrote down on a piece of paper my ideas for this webinar that I'm going over with you right now. And I'll tell you why actually I did it. I had a webinar for a 3A framework, and I think I saved it on the desktop on my Mac computer, which is not here. So this morning I'm looking for my 3A framework webinar, and I'm like, crap, I don't have it. I don't even know where it is. So I wrote down my thoughts on a piece of paper. I went to good old ChatGPT. I spoke into ChatGPT. You can see right here my thoughts. I spoke exactly what I wrote on the paper, said create a prompt for Gamma, and you guys are looking at it. So this took me 20 minutes because then I had to go dry my hair and get ready for this webinar. This is how quickly you can do stuff with AI, and it looks amazing. And you all know me, I'm not analysis paralysis. In fact, I'm looking at this for the very first time with you guys right here. Okay. So, but it still was my thought. So I kind of know what we're talking about here because, I wrote them on my piece of paper. Anyways, so turning conversations into content, right? With a podcast, people will probably be like, oh my God, how do I do a podcast? You want to know how I do a podcast? Just like I'm doing this webinar on Zoom. I don't even all of my podcasts are done on Zoom. And here's the funny thing. All of the people that I've had on my podcast for the past, I just did one last week, for the past year, I have never asked them to be on my podcast. They asked me to be on my podcast because they are hiring a company called one's Podcast Valet, I forget. And these people are reaching out to get these, other people on podcasts, right? So I'm just doing the podcast with the people that want to be on my podcast. Now I am going to get back into really being more intentional with my podcast, but I want to give you guys ideas. Okay. So I will say my virtual assistant creates the thumbnail, just like I told you with my AI powered website. these people, I'm going to tell you real quick how I do the podcast. So these people reach out to me. Here's John Smith. Here's his bio. This is what he's about. Can you, have him on your podcast? Sure. I send over a couple times. I send over my calendar link, which is from the CRM. I was using Calendly. I got rid of Calendly. I am now using the CRM calendar and automations. And so here, book the day and time, whatever, they book it. It goes into my AI powered pipeline. It then sends the reminders. When I do the podcast and I move it from podcast to podcast recorded, my virtual assistant gets an internal notification that says, hey, the podcast was just recorded. She then takes it, right? She creates the thumbnail from what's already in the notes section, in the document section of that contact. She creates a thumbnail, she creates the intro, she edits it where she needs to, and she creates all of the reels that then go on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, all that stuff. So all I do is show up, do a Zoom like this for 40 minutes with somebody, talking to them. I usually, and this sounds terrible, but I usually read about them 10 minutes before, and then we have a conversation, and that is the podcast. Okay. So don't overthink things. Now, can I make it better? Yes. Am I going to make it better? 100%, because now I'm starting to see a lot more value and traction in it. But think about what you can do or ways to build your business. If you're in real estate, or even if you're in mortgage, right? If you're a golfer and you love golfing, well, then I would go around to the different golf course communities, because you can talk the talk. I would never be able to, right? And then that becomes your target audience, right? You're doing something you love. You're interviewing the golf pro. You're showing pictures of the golf community or the course. You're talking about, where I live is a very big golfing area. Like, all of these gated communities are golfing communities, right? So these people come down, move down here. They're snowbirds. They're living here to golf, right? So they want to know the amenities, how much it costs. Do you have to buy into the golf membership? Is there, an annual fee for the restaurant that we have to spend $10,000 at, or whatever, right? So you, as the local guide, can go around and create a podcast about that. Or if you're into restaurants and eating like I am, or whatever it is that you're into, right? You can create this and then repurpose. You got your reels, right? Create the reels. And I'll show you guys in a second how to do that. But all of that stuff, right? These are all different ways to build your business. But as I said in the beginning, it takes time. You're not going to do this overnight. It is not going to be an overnight thing. So your database is your gold mine. I can tell you, probably a lot of you, myself included, was not paying attention to my database, because we think, oh, I sold them a home, they're probably not going to buy for the next 5 years. Or I just did their mortgage, they're at a 3% rate, they're probably not going to, whatever, right? So keep in mind, if we're talking to our database, it does not mean that it's them that have to buy, right? Or sell or whatever. It could be their sister. It could be their child. It could be their friend. It could be so when you go after your database, you don't have to go after and say to them, because I think that's the hang up a lot of people have. Like, I already sold them a home. I'm not going to, what are they going to? Well, no, who else do they know, right? Who else do they know that might need your services? The next thing is review requests. So I have my AI in my system automatically respond to my Google requests. And you can set it up so that the system, you can tell the AI bot how you want them to respond. Do you want it to be warm, energetic, What's the tone? So that when people are, leaving you a Google My Business review, bam, first of all, that can be automated too. So if I tag somebody as a past client, they automatically get the past client automation that is set up for the entire year. They automatically get that Google My Business review request. They automatically get an email letting them know that they're going to be getting a lot of junk mail, that it's going to look like it's coming from my mortgage company, but it's not. They're going to then get another email 3 weeks later. I took the time to build these systems because, like I said in the beginning, I audited my business to see where I was not being there or where I was not showing up, but what my clients actually need. And then I created the system to do it for me, right? So you're never losing touch again. You're always staying omnipresent. You're doing all of these different things, but the system is doing a lot of it for you. And the system is what is going to create freedom. I was born into the hustle culture, right? My parents think they're still working at set. My dad's 72. They just sold their business, but he still works. He still goes to the business every single day. I don't think he'll ever stop working, but he probably works 60 hours a week, if not more. But he's in the hustle culture. That's what he wants. I don't want that. I saw that for them, right? I saw them sacrifice a lot. I see that they want to travel now, but his back hurts and this is this problem or that problem, right? I would rather do that while I'm still young and not bust my butt until I'm 70 and be like, oh, now I can go and live when you're not living like you are, you know what I mean, when you're younger. So, anyways, that's how we create these systems, right? And you need to have a system for everything. You need that lead generation system. You need that lead follow-up system. You need that client fulfillment system. You need that marketing system. You need all of the different systems. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed because, like I said, it takes time, right? So start to look at in your audit all of the manual tasks that you're doing and figure out where you can automate those manual tasks. If it is personally sending somebody a text message, you took a new listing, right? And now you need to text them and ask them, let them know exactly what your plan of action, I don't know, whatever, right? You can automate that. So where can you automate the things that you are doing manually? And then the third thing is AI. So once you've identified the gaps in your business, once you've figured out what you're going to automate, but what still also needs a human touch, then AI is like the rocket fuel, right? That is what is going to supercharge your business. That is what is going to make it even more like business on steroids. So what really should AI be doing for you? Okay. Number one, my AI answers my text and my DMs. Now I can pop in there and see, in fact, Anita, I don't even know if you know this, but you are having a conversation with my AI. Like, I don't know if you know that or not, but this was a couple weeks ago. My AI was communicating with you. It wasn't me. And I was just watching the conversation. Now, if my AI was getting a little crazy, I could hop in and say, oh, like, and take over and shut my AI down. But, oh, she said it was amazing. Yes. So, anyways, so it will have the conversations. I have an AI chatbot that answers phone calls, right? I have an AI chatbot that can book appointments. I don't even think anymore. ChatGPT does all of my writing for me. It does my LinkedIn newsletters. Now I give it the prompt. Okay. I tell it what I'm thinking. I talk to it like it's my best friend. Hey, I'm going to do a LinkedIn newsletter about this. I want to do a LinkedIn newsletter about the 3A framework. I want to talk about AI automation. This is what I'm seeing with a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. Create a LinkedIn newsletter about this within a minute. Bam. LinkedIn newsletter. Awesome. Now create the banner. That's how I create my LinkedIn newsletters. Okay. That's another thing that's keeping me top of mind, right? And then also it can handle all of your SOPs, like you're supporting your team, your SOPs in your business, helping you create those SOPs in your business, helping you create that audit. So AI is really going to be there, right, to help you, to follow up with you, to help you create presentations, to help you create lead magnets, to follow up with your leads. Some of the phone, because I don't know about you, but I get so much spam calls that it's annoying. I don't answer my phone anymore unless I know who's calling me. Half the time it's spam, but if it's not and they call me through my CRM phone number, my AI agent takes the call. My kids were in a car accident a couple of years ago, and the attorney called me to follow up with me about something, and my AI agent had the conversation with the attorney about me, and I saw that come through because it comes through as a text message. And then I responded. I responded. So the AI agent had the conversation, and then I was the one that responded. Let me see. I just saw something in the chat. Hold on. How can you automate open house customers who mark time frame 1 and 3 years? How can you automate signing sheets? That's an awesome question, Tina. Okay. So with the Done by One CRM, we have an open house automation. So what I would suggest doing is when somebody comes into your open house, you have them scan a QR code on their phone. When they scan that QR code on their phone, a form pops up. They enter their name, phone, and email, right? And then it will automatically go into your AI powered pipeline. What I typically would do is I would say the seller we have a lot of information on this home. We have the seller disclosure. We have all of the, upgrade lists that the home has. And so the seller has asked us to send an email to everybody that comes into the house with all of the information, the features on the home, etc. Right? So when they scan that QR code and they just enter their information on that form, then that automation triggers and that automation will automatically send them an email with that information. It will automatically send them a text message also. And then you can set up the automation to then follow up with them consistently. And if it's 1 year or 2 years, the CRM can automatically follow up with them over those years, right? But that is how I would do the open houses, because what you're doing is you're getting somebody to opt in, right? They're inputting their information. You're capturing their information. You're not asking them to sign some form that who knows if they're even giving you the correct information on that form, right? And then you can also set it up so that your seller gets an email or gets a text message whenever somebody fills out that form. So you just got to think what I always do. And like I said in the beginning, I'm a paper person. And Tina, I'm so happy you're on here, by the way, because I totally forgot to message you. And I know that you have issues logging onto Zoom from Safari. So I apologize for that. I'm so happy you are here. You can upload your contacts and then put them on drip campaigns for however many, days you want, just to answer that other question. But that is what I would be doing for open houses. Okay. And that will be a satisfaction, like that will satisfy you, that will satisfy the seller. Now, if you have listings, because I never sat an open house, I had other people sit open houses for me. You can create the same systems for that. So the truth of the matter is you really do not need more time, right? You don't need more tools. You don't need more systems. You need to audit your business. You need to figure out what it is that you are doing manually. You need to figure out where you can plug in automation, and then where you can plug in AI to build your AI powered operating system. So that's where auditing your business is going to give you clarity. Creating your systems, right, is going to then be your automation and your systems. And AI is going to allow you to scale, which is going to give you the freedom that you want. Real quick, when I was building out my systems, okay? So if you're gonna do this, hopefully some of you are, I'd get a notebook, and it would just be so like, let's say you have maybe the 5-star notebook, right? Where it's got 5 different, pretend you're back in school. Instead of like English, math, what you could do is lead generation, lead follow-up, fulfillment, blah, blah, blah. And then start writing your systems down. Once they are down, they are so easy, or use AI, right? I'm just old school because I'm in my 40s. So I'm like, okay, paper and pen is for me. But if you're younger than me and you're really into AI, then probably using ChatGPT and speaking into it would be better, right? But once you get it down on paper, you could even take a picture of the paper and then text it, put it right into ChatGPT and have it come up with your system and say, I'm building out my AI powered system within my CRM. This is what I want to have happen, right? I want this text message to go out, then an email, then an internal notification, then this and that. And it will build it for you. Then all you need is either yourself or a VA to plug that in. Okay. So this is not just a CRM, right? It's not a CRM. A CRM is basically just getting your database. It is a complete AI powered operating system. And once you get everything in the system working together, and like I said, it takes time. Some people don't even log into it and then wonder why it's not working, right? It's going to take time, but this is how you build a business to scale. And this system is for you. So a lot of times when I was at Movement Mortgage and then I was going to guaranteed rate, I had to figure out how to get stuff out of Movement Mortgage and over to guaranteed rate. And you're not really supposed to do that, right? And then I had to figure, so it's just like if you're using your company's CRM and you ever want to leave, guess what? That's a problem. They have your data, right? That's a problem on always having to recreate everything. So if you think about it, this is how you can have a platform that can grow with you. And I run different businesses and I run all of my different businesses in this one system. So I'm going to talk to you about the top AI tools that I use, but I do want to just show you real quick the difference between the two because we had way too many plans before and I can't do it, right? I'm not doing it anymore. So I just lowered the price on one of the plans and then I increased the price on the other. So if $250 a month or $2,500 a year plus a one-time setup fee, this is a plug and play, but also a do it yourself or hire a VA to do it for you. This isn't like me helping you create your system, right? So it's for anybody, entrepreneur that wants that plug and play system that they're going to plug it in. They're going to already use the stuff that we have in there. We already have templates, campaigns, landing pages. And I do want to point out, if you guys see anything that I'm doing and you like my landing page and you're like, Danielle, can I have that? Like partner with Danielle D or any of the expired listings, whatever, will gladly drop that into your, I don't upcharge, oh, that's going to be $50, whatever. I will drop that right into your account. Okay. So if you see stuff you like, just remember that. The next one is the accelerator. This is going to be more for an entrepreneur that really wants to build that custom system. Okay. Where we do a 2-hour deep dive. We do a business audit. Now I do have the business audit at the $250 a month if you want that, where we can just do the audit. But this is where it's a done with you, right? We're going to build your system together. And then it's just once you have your system built, you don't need to worry. The system is running for you. People are getting followed up on. People are, your database is nurtured. Everything is going to be handled for you. So it's a done with you with priority support. And really that AI audit or that initial audit is where we figure out it's a coaching call, basically. And we go through your entire business. So if you are tired of that sales roller coaster and you're tired of inconsistent, you're overwhelmed, you have so many tools, you might have a social media tool and like I was saying, HomeBot and list reports and this and that and da-da-da, like all these different Calendly. Okay, this is just an all-in-one system. You need to, and if you're using other tools and you're not using every tool within the system, I would start with figuring out in your audit, what can I get rid of? Because we have it all here. So if you're also wanting to be able to win your time back, right? Get your time back, travel, have fun, do the things that you want to do, and increase your closings, then this is for you. Okay. So I'm going to flip through this real quick, but I'm going to show you the top AI tools that I am using. So if you guys do want to book your audit, you can message me directly. You can just go to book.donebyone.ai. So book.donebyone.ai, and you can book your audit there. I know a lot of people on this call are already with me. But AI, we've already talked about it, your AI agent. I want to show you guys a couple of things real quick on some of the stuff that we've built out. And I want to give you guys an idea. Okay. So if you have short-term rentals or if you have listings, real estate listings, or even the mortgage website, right? You can build an AI agent that can answer all of the different questions that a client can have. Now, if I'm in real estate, and I'm going to talk real quick about the AI chat widget on the website. If I am in real estate, I would be building these landing pages for my clients. Okay. It's super simple. Once you have one, where is it? Oh, crap. I think this was the one. Shoot. Once you have it built, I don't know why my computer has been terrible today. So this is a website that I had built that is for a short-term rental with, here, let me see, an AI chat widget that will answer all different questions about the home. So if someone calls, like goes to the website and asks the AI chat widget, how far is the golf course? What's the nearest shopping center? What schools are located in this area? The AI chatbot, and she speaks, right? So you speak to her, will answer all of that for you. Okay. So that AI chatbot, let me just hide this real quick. That AI chatbot will answer all of the questions. I think it's my domain that I'm having an issue with. But anyways, that is something if I was selling real estate that I would be doing. If I go to my mortgage website, okay, right here, Jessica, if I call Jessica, see how it says call us, she's going to pop up and let me just show you real quick. This. And she will answer.
Hi, this is Jessica with Grow Funding Group. Danielle and her team is not available, but I'm here to help. How can I help you today?
I'm thinking about getting a VA loan, and I was wondering if there's mortgage insurance on a VA loan.
VA loans do not require private mortgage insurance, PMI, which is a significant benefit compared to other loan types. However, there is a one-time VA funding fee which helps sustain the program. This fee can vary based on factors.
So you guys get the point, right? So I've created these AI agents to handle questions. So now what's going to happen is that AI agent, I'm going to get a recording, I'm going to get a transcript in my email showing me that, it answered a call. Okay. And it's also going to have, if she got my contact information, which you could have the AI agent get the contact information first. I wanted it to be very low, like barrier to entry, I guess you would say. I don't even know, but I wanted it to just be able to like answer questions. I did the same thing with a listing. And it, like I said, how far from the golf course? What's the best restaurants in the area? It can answer all of that. If you are in real estate, listen to me. You are always trying to show your sellers and buyers, this is what every agent does out there. And this is what I do differently. Creating these websites, these landing pages for your listings that will not take you long at all, or a virtual assistant can do it for you, is what will separate you from every other agent out there. And that is what we need to start looking at, right? So let me just show you a couple more things, right? So the website, the chat bots, the chat widgets, you can have a million different landing pages and train your chat widgets to answer all of the different questions. If you're in recruiting and you want to have them answer like recruiting questions or whatever, right? You can make sure that you get their contact information first, and it can do that. So this is how you are going to be omnipresent. This is how you're going to build your AI powered operating system. This is how you are going to scale. Like I said in the beginning, I was a few minutes late to this webinar because I was creating this PowerPoint presentation with Gamma. Okay. So I use AI for all of my videos. If you guys are watching my videos, if my words are not actually going with my lips that much, it's because it's AI, right? So I didn't want to like give my secret away, but I am a huge proponent of consistency over perfection. Okay. You have to be consistent. People are not going to remember exactly. I have people liking my videos. They don't know me, so they probably don't even realize it's AI, right? So consistency over perfection wins every single time. So I use video for my videos. I use ChatGPT and I use HeyGen. I created my AI clone in HeyGen. And then I hooked up my voice with 11 Labs. So the three things together is what's creating my AI videos. All of my social media posts is in ChatGPT. My lead magnets and my ebooks, you could come up with an ebook right now. Top 10 ways to sell your home, right? You do your webinar, you have top 10 ways to sell your home. Your webinar is about that, and you can have your ebooks, run Facebook ads, whatever. My LinkedIn newsletters, they're all done on ChatGPT. So these are the tools that I use: ChatGPT, Gamma, HeyGen, 11 Labs, and video. Video has a new name. I don't remember it. I forget it every single time. It's probably had a new name for a year, but I still call it video. It's like Quazo or something. But if you type in video.ai, it's going to pop up. So I use that. Well, my assistant uses it for the reels. Now, what I do is I figure out how to use things. And actually, if I paid somebody a lot more money, they would figure it out. But I figure out how to use this stuff and do this stuff. And then I show my virtual assistant and then they do it, right? So that is how I'm not just hiring someone and saying, hey, figure out, which I could if I wanted to spend probably 10 times the amount of money that I'm spending right now on my virtual assistants. I could have other people do it, but I would rather figure it out and then have them do it. So those are the top AI tools. So the truth really is that without auditing your business, without then figuring out what you need to plug with automation and AI, you're not going to be able to really build a business to scale. And some of you guys, including myself, I mean, I'm not leaving Nexa or going anywhere right now. And I probably won't for a very, very, very long time. I do not see that ever happening. But a lot of people will move, especially in real estate and mortgage, or you're moving areas or whatever. Once you build this system, right, as long as you're not getting out of the business, this system goes anywhere with you. All you're doing is changing the name, right? You're just changing the name. You're not changing your strategy. You're not changing anything, right? Maybe you're adding a few more AI tools that are coming up. But AI is not going to, fix the broken system. Tools in a CRM is not going to fix the broken system. Okay. This 3A framework, this is what will fix the broken system. Okay. It's auditing. That's the very first step. And that is what always gets like missed or not done. And then it's automation and then it's AI. So this is how you go from hustle culture, which is like how I grew up, into freedom. Okay. Because before we were inconsistent, overwhelmed, chasing leads, and now we have a predictable pipeline. We have automation and follow up. And I just remembered that I have somebody that's onboarding at 1 o'clock and it is 1:08. So I am going to have to hop off, but we're going to end with this, right? Let's start building your system, right? Book, if you need to do an audit, like it does cost money, but if you need to do an audit and really figure out where your system is broken, we can do that. And then get you into a system that is going to allow you to grow, to scale, to create freedom, to work less, to close more, to live more, and more importantly, live a life by design. So that is it. Thank you guys for being on. I will, like I said, I don't have a webinar plan for next week. I am going to be diving into AI agents, and like really like mastering these AI agents. So once I get this figured out, guys, game over. We're going to be creating these AI agents. But anyways, you're welcome, Tina. Thank you guys for coming. And I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.